Okay, we are at chapter 19. Absalom has died, and David is on his way back into the city of Jerusalem to retake his rightful place as the king of all of Israel. And on his way in, we're going to have 3 encounters with 3 different people. And each of these encounters has a similar theme, but they're all meeting David for different reasons. The first one to meet David as he's heading back up into Jerusalem is Shimei. And you may remember him from chapter 16. He's the one that was cursing David and throwing rocks at him and his men as David exited the city. Now, David is victorious heading back in, and all of a sudden, this one who had cursed David is now just begging for mercy. You can imagine anytime a new king takes power in this world, it's not even just about the king's power shifting, it's the whole power of the region that starts to shift. It's all of the people in power. Suddenly the one who was your enemy is now the one in control. And so Shimei is probably thinking his days are numbered. I mean, what would you do in this situation when you take up power and the people who had cursed you are now within your ability to have vengeance on? A lot of us, human nature would dictate you take your vengeance, but not David. David offers him mercy. The second one we meet is the son of Saul, who we've met several times at this point, Mephibosheth, and he comes down and tells Saul this incredible story about how his servant had betrayed him and made David believe that he had gone against David, but that's not at all what happened. It's a beautiful story. David shows both of them, Mephibosheth and his servant, mercy. But here's the one I really want to focus on, and it's the third encounter, Barzillai, and I'm probably butchering that name, Barzillai. He comes down, he's 80 years old, and he had supported David. This is someone who had blessed David, had given him food on his way. And now you would think that the human tendency in those moments for someone who has blessed you in your lowest time and now you're to power, the human tendency would be, well, this is someone who deserves to be rewarded. Like Shimei deserved to be cursed and vengeance brought upon him. This person deserves to be brought high and exalted and given position of power, right? But that's not what he wants. He tells David, David says in verse 33 in chapter 19, come with me, come over into the city with me, and I will provide for you with me in Jerusalem. That would be a pretty hard thing to say no to. Come with me. You'll have riches beyond your imagining. You will sit at the king's table, the height of power. And yet this 80-year-old man in all of his wisdom says in verse 35, why then should your servant be an added burden to the Lord your king? He just wants to go home. He doesn't need anything from David. He doesn't use David for his power. He wasn't trying to manipulate David when he helped him. He just did good to David. And David does the right thing by extending good in return. And he says, no. I just wanted to be a blessing to you. And now that you're in power, I just want to go home. And this is so convicting to me because think about how many times you do good for someone and you, like, even if you're not willing to admit it, you actually expect a little something in return, or, hey, the next time I'm in trouble, or they're in trouble, I'll help them, or something like that. But this story reminds us that actually doing good is supposed to be just for doing good. We're supposed to bless others for the sheer fact that we desire to be a blessing, not because we want anything from them in return. This is agape love. This is hesed, the loyal, faithful love that we've been talking about. It's the kind of love that sacrifices. Like, it costs Barzillai to give David in his moment of weakness, but he did it at a time when David had nothing to offer him in return. And now that David does have something to offer him, the agape love that he has for David demands no repayment. Who loves you that way? Who loves you in a way that is sacrificial to them and demands nothing in return? Who do you love in that way? This is something worth a cup of coffee and wrestling over, because if you don't have like a quick answer to that question, then you should think about that. Who do you love in a way that you're not like creating a ledger in your book or holding accounts for who owes you and who you owe, or the kind of love that our God models for us, the kind that David and Barzillai model here in different ways. David with the one who cursed him, and Barzillai with David, is agape love. Sacrificial love that keeps no record of wrongs or rights. This is the kind of love that God has for you. So let's be people who show that same kind of love to all of those around us, whether they've cursed us or blessed us. Amen.